Solo Sikoa's close aide to betray him and join Roman Reigns' bloodline? Exploring the possibility. Roman Reigns proved himself as the undisputed tribal chief by defeating Solo Sikoa on the January 6, 2025 episode of Monday Night Raw. The Ula Fala might not be the only thing the street champion lost at the match. It might extend to the loyalty of the new bloodline members as well. Back in August 2024, the original tribal chief returned to WWE at the SummerSlam Premium Live Event. He immediately made it known that he would take back what was rightfully his. During this time, Solo Sikoa ordered Tama Tonga to acknowledge Roman Reigns if the OTC took the Ula Fala from him. And so would he, however. The street champion may go back on his word and not acknowledge the former undisputed WWE Universal Champion. On the other hand, Tama Tonga may view this differently. While Tonga's loyalty seems to be with Solo Sikoa, he can turn his back on him and decide to acknowledge the OTC, establishing that his loyalty would be with the tribal chief at all times. Tama Tonga's betrayal will solidify Solo Sikoa's downfall and bring the story back to a single bloodline. Given that The Rock acknowledged Reigns as well, it's possible the bloodline saga will bring focus back to the final boss versus the OTC. The storyline has run for 4 years now and has been extremely successful. Triple H might kick off the conclusion of the angle with one betrayal at a time. Roman Reigns will enter the Royal Rumble in 2025. During the latest episode of SmackDown, Paul Heyman announced that the original tribal chief will enter the men's Royal Rumble match. The former undisputed WWE Universal Champion intends on winning it and challenging Cody Rhodes for the championship at WrestleMania 41. It's unknown if the OTC will be present on the Blue Show during the month, but he is expected to be a part of the WWE Raw episode before Royal Rumble 2025. Fans can expect complete havoc in the men's match, since some may enter the ring to avenge themselves for the way Roman Reigns treated the roster when he was the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Jacob Fatu sends a message on the Bloodline's behalf after Solo Sikoa's tribal combat loss to Roman Reigns. Jacob Fatu sent a message on behalf of the Bloodline on this week's WWE SmackDown. In the show's main event, he teamed up with Tama Tonga against Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes. Solo Sikoa lost to Roman Reigns on Raw's Netflix premiere. The tribal chief was forced to give up the Ula Fala to the OTC, who regained it for the first time since WrestleMania XL. To make matters more interesting, The Rock put the Ula Fala around Reigns' neck. Fatu delivered an intense promo before making his way to the ring. He specifically explained to Jimmy Uso the difference between the new bloodline and the OG bloodline. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga caused chaos throughout the entire night. They also prevented LA Knight from winning the United States Championship and were later victorious in the main event. Bill Apter discussed Jacob Fatu's promo from WWE SmackDown. Bill Apter discussed Jacob Fatu's promo from WWE SmackDown, mentioning that it was quite intimidating. He believed WWE also unveiled a more frightening version of the Samoan werewolf. He is very intimidating, and it's a great line, but if you look at it from the wrestling fan's point of view there, it was pretty terrifying to hear that. Yeah, Solo Sikoa recruited Fatu and the rest of the new bloodline following WrestleMania XL. After Cody Rhodes dethroned Roman Reigns to win the undisputed WWE Championship, Sikoa took matters into his hands to form the new version of the faction. The leader of the bloodline was absent from this week's WWE SmackDown and hasn't broken his silence after losing to Reigns in Tribal Combat. It remains to be seen what WWE has in store for Sikoa and his bloodline. Rikishi makes huge declaration following his son Solo Sikoa's loss to Roman Reigns on WWE Raw. Rikishi recently addressed his son Solo Sikoa's defeat against Roman Reigns in Tribal Combat on WWE Raw. He made a huge declaration regarding the tribal chief. Roman Reigns was the tribal chief for nearly 4 years. However, he lost his position after WrestleMania 40 as Solo Sikoa led a coup within the bloodline. The OTC's former enforcer declared himself the new tribal chief as he wore the Ula Fala. Over the past few months, Reigns and his OG bloodline battled Sikoa and the new bloodline. The civil war seemingly ended last Monday, when the former undisputed WWE Champion defeated his cousin and retrieved the Ula Fala to restore himself as the Bloodline's Tribal Chief. Rikishi says The Rock passed on the torch to Roman Reigns on WWE Raw. On the same episode of his Off the Top podcast, Rikishi addressed The Rock's actions towards Roman Reigns following the latter's victory over Solo Sikoa. The final boss headed to the ring to place the Ula Fala around his cousin's neck. He then hugged the OTC and told him that he loved him. The Hall of Famer claimed the emotional moment between the two cousins was a passing of the torch from The Rock to Reigns. So, in your opinion, that was The Rock passing on the torch to Roman Reigns? I feel yes. I thought it was done very well, he said. I think we all need to acknowledge Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief. We all need to acknowledge the Tribal Chief, man. What type of character is this guy here? Look at the doors, the opportunities that he's opened. Not only for the family, but for the business. Man, we're tied in with Netflix, come on. I guarantee you, if the numbers wasn't right for well over 4+ years, this company has been on his back. In comes the Bloodline running these storylines left and right to keep this thing going. Hey, at the end of the day, you can hate us or love us, but the numbers don't lie, baby, he said. It would be interesting to see if the High Chief and the Tribal Chief would eventually go head-to-head inside the WWE ring. 4 ways Solo Sikoa can acknowledge Roman Reigns tonight on WWE SmackDown. Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns battled in a tribal combat match with a lot on the line this past Monday night on WWE Raw. It was the Red Brand's debut episode on Netflix, and the show aired live from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California last Friday night on WWE SmackDown. Sikoa interrupted Paul Heyman and noted that the Hall of Famer would be his Wiseman forever if he won the match. However, if he lost, he would officially acknowledge Reigns as his Tribal Chief. Reigns picked up the pinfall victory over Sikoa in the Tribal Combat match on Raw. Listed below are 4 ways Solo Sikoa could acknowledge Roman Reigns tonight on SmackDown. Number 4. Solo Sikoa could admit that he is not the Tribal Chief on WWE SmackDown. Solo Sikoa failed to defeat Roman Reigns in the Tribal Combat match this past Monday night on Raw, and now must remain true to his word on SmackDown. The veteran could cut a promo during tonight's show in Oregon and make a major admission. Sikoa could decide to admit that he is no longer the Tribal Chief of the new version of the Bloodline, and the group does not need a leader anymore. This may lead to tension with Jacob Fatu, who has idolized Sikoa. Since arriving in the company last year, Paul Heyman refused to acknowledge Solo Sikoa as his Tribal Chief on the June 28, 2024 edition of SmackDown. As a result of his insubordination, Sikoa ordered the new version of the Bloodline to powerbomb the legend through the announce table. Sikoa threatened to make Heyman his Wiseman forever if he won the Tribal Combat match, but he failed to do so.